we have a special treat. And, the teachings of the ancient masters were always the harmony of mind, body, and spirit. And so if any of you had an opportunity to see Sherry's video on our website and on the email send out, you had the opportunity to see somebody very, very passionate about what she does and what she enjoys and what she believes in. And so today we are experiencing the mind-body connection in a form called NIA. And Sherry is here to share with us the exciting part of NIA. So can we give her a nice, great big hand?
All right. I am so excited to be here, and I want to thank everybody for this opportunity to just share with you my passion, my love. It's a very important part of who I am in my life. So I want to tell you a little bit about my journey real quickly, and we've already 15 minutes, but I'm like, I was already stressed about condensing. Now I've got 15 minutes left, so this will be interesting. But I want to take you back to the year of 2008. I was living in Salem, Oregon, and I was a real estate broker. And I don't know if you remember in 2008 what happened, but we had the most dramatic crash of the market since even worse than the Depression because it was global. And I also was going through a very sad divorce. I was madly in love with this man, and I found out that he had a whole other separate life. He had a mental problem, and he was living with another woman. And he tried to commit suicide, and I finding out that he almost killed himself. So I was in a place where my personal life, my professional life, I had lost everything that I had. I was starting to question my belief system. I was questioning my ability to make decisions. I was flatlining. I mean, I was weeks without even getting out of bed. I couldn't see the point. I was devastated and just trying to unbury myself from the rubble. And my partner, one of my work partners in my group, he said, why don't you just go to the gym? Why don't you just go and, maybe that'll get you out of this dark place that you're at. So I started going to the gym, and what I experienced is I was like, everybody in the class was just like rotely going through things, and nobody was smiling. Everybody was walking out like this, and I noticed I was having backaches, and my knee was hurting, and I was like, is this the best you get? Like, really? This is supposed to make me feel good, but I'm not feeling good. And so I asked my fitness coach, I'm like, what is there? I was going through all the classes that they had, and I was doing like 8 classes a week at this time, just trying to just become alive again. And my fitness coach, I see this thing called NIA, and I go, what's this NIA thing? And he goes, no, it's NIA. And he goes, I don't know how to explain what it is. It's kind of frou-frou, airy, and I know you like to dance, so just go check it out. So I go to this class, and the teacher was from Hungary. And I walked in the class, and everybody was smiling and happy, and the music was amazing. And I was like, whoa. I just felt like something inside of my whole spirit went, oh! And so I danced the dance, and at the end of the dance, which we call it a dance, but it's so much more, which I'll try and get into, but at the end of the class, the teacher said, hey, I'm going to go up. The international headquarters for NIA is in Portland, Oregon. And I was living in Salem, right? So it's like 60 miles up the road. She goes, I'm going to class at the International Studios tonight. Does anyone want to go? And I'm like, I do. So I go to Portland, and my very first experience or encounter with meeting Carlos A.S. Rosas, who was one of my real life heroes. He was teaching the class at International Headquarters that night, and I walk in the studio. We were a little late because traffic was horrible. I walk in, I get signed in and everything, and I'm standing at the threshold of the studio door of Studio A at International Headquarters. And Carlos, the creator, one of the co-creators, he stands in the doorway, and he sees me standing in the threshold, and he goes, welcome to NIA. And I was like, I could hear the angels sing, And I'm here to tell you, I'm an addict. I'm a full-on hardcore NIA addict. So in my book, Carla said, because my spirit was so depleted because of my whole life had just been stripped. And in my book, he wrote, dancing will free your spirit.
Oh.
And I just love that. And so they said for the next 2 weeks, anybody that comes for the first time, you get to come for 2 weeks and just try it out, and we can be here and show you through it and everything. So the next class I went to, Debbie was teaching. And Debbie and Carlos were the ones that created it, and I talked about that on my video. Hopefully you guys catch that. But Debbie was teaching, and it was such an amazing experience. I'm like, here's this powerful woman. And I bought this book, this NIA Technique book. And this is a book, oh, where did I put it? I don't know. Anyway, I bought the book. And in the book, I asked her to sign it. I'd never met this woman. I just went to her class first time. She autographed my book, and she said, may this be the beginning of you falling in love with yourself.
Oh.
Wow.
And it was so powerful. I'm like, here's this woman I've never met. She doesn't know anything about this horrible situation. I mean, I felt so unloved because how could my husband, the love of my life, my soulmate, I do believe, our soulmates, I used to think that a soulmate was your perfect person and your life was going to be forever blissful if you met them. What I've come to learn is that your soulmate is your teacher. And boy, did he teach me some lessons.
He stepped up to the plate.
He did. I got a master's degree, and a PhD, and how much PhD can you go through and still stay vertical? So it was an amazing experience, and I thought these people got it. They know how to connect with our minds, our bodies, our emotions, and our spirit. And so the gym that I was going to, the lady from Hungary, her husband was going on a sabbatical and she was going to be leaving. And the gym said, well, if we don't have another teacher, we're not going to be able to hold the class. I'm like, what? I finally found this amazing thing. You can't let it go. What? So I was like, well, I'll sign up for the training, right? So I went to the guys at the gym and I'm like, well, I'll be your teacher. Like, I'll do it. Well, are you an No, but I'll figure it out. I'll do it. I'll do it. So I go to international training, I sign up for my white belt, and you're probably wondering, Sue, what she said, and she goes, why do you have so many belts on? Are you afraid your pants won't stay out? But these are my levels of training. This is my white belt, this is the first level. This is teaches you the foundational stuff. This is my blue belt, and this teaches you about communication and relation. This is my brown energy. I mean, there's all these different levels. So you go through these levels, just like the martial arts, we have belt levels. So I wear these proudly and with honor, because I went through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get these belts. But it was the most joyous journey of my life. And I have as much honor and love of my belts as I do my children. Well, maybe not as much. My kids are pretty extreme, but my kids and my grandkids and my belts. Those are my most prized possessions. So anyway, I'm like crash corning, and I'm sitting there in NIA class, and I just thought it was like dance, because it was just fun when I went, when I was new. And I didn't really, I thought I'd be going to training and just learn some routines that I could go back and teach my people, And I'm sitting there in a NIA class, and I realize how leveled and integrated and, just how intense this stuff is. And I was sitting there in class, I almost started to cry. I'm like, how can I do this? I was so overwhelmed. Like, this is so much. How can I do this? But somehow or other, I'm here to tell you I did it. And so I got my training. I went back, and normally, because it's so much to learn, they say you need to stay with what you get for 6 months before you're ready to teach class. I had 4 weeks before the lady was leaving. So literally, what else did I have to do? My life was in the toilet. So for 12 hours a day, I was like totally immersed. And it changed my life. And I taught, I've taught in all kinds of centers. I've taught everyone from the age of 4 to 90. I've taught people that just had a hip, in the same class. If you can imagine, I'm not kidding. You might notice I have no feet. I mean, I have feet, but I don't have any shoes on. We teach NIA with bare feet. We get that from the martial art because it is a way that we can sense. We're sensing energy beings. And somehow in our lives, in this crazy thing, we've got so disconnected. People go to the gym, they're wearing tennis shoes. Well, tennis shoes, you don't have your connection to earth. People are getting injuries all the time. because they're thinking, oh, I got to do this, I got to push through this, no pain, no gain. No, pain is a good thing. Pain is our bodies talking to us and telling us, hey, don't do that. I don't like it. You're going to hurt me. And so people, oh, doc, I have a pain, give me a pill. Well, no, that's not the way. The pain is good. It's good information. It's data. And then through that pain, we can say, okay, well, you know, if I do this and put too much weight and if I don't align my body, you know, in the martial art, it's all about teaching you how to align and how to do things. So you're moving your body in the way your body was designed. So you don't have injury. You have that sensory awareness of like, oh, I can heal. If I'm doing it wrong, then I can adjust and I can tweak. And Bud can tell us the power of the Alexander technique, how important it is to just those adjustments. It makes so much, it's not about the quantity of movement, it's the quality of movement. Moving in that conscious awareness so that you're enjoying it, you're nurturing, you're healing the movement, you're healing your body through the way you're doing the movement. And when they were creating NIA, they looked at our neurophysiology, they looked at our musculature and our skeletal system, and they really studied the anatomy of the whole picture. And then they looked at all these different movement arts that I talked about in the video. If you haven't seen the video that Bobby did, thank you, Bobby, you did a good job. And so check that out because it explains the different movement modalities, and I won't go in with those too much now because of time. But so they really figured out how to move in a way that could help you create well-being, homeostasis, and feel nurtured. And I can't tell you how many times, you know, because life's crazy, I have a really challenging job, but I'll come out, oh my gosh, I have to teach NIA, and sometimes you're tired from the energy of the day. By the time I'm done teaching, I just feel energized, and I feel alive, and I feel relaxed at the same time. Because what happens is when you're moving all those different movement modalities, and you're doing it with conscious intention, and you're doing it with purpose, and you're getting your mind just as involved in those activities that you're doing as your body, and you bring the music in, and you bring your emotions in, and you bring your spirit in, oh, it's just magical. And so just to kind of tell you really quickly about a NIA class, we start out with the 7 cycles. So we always start out with a focus and intent because we want to keep our minds busy on something positive. I always, you have so much mind. I shouldn't say you. I sometimes get a lot of mind chatter. Like, how many times you hear, oh, I really want to come to that class, but I can't dance, or I'm uncoordinated, and it's just going to be too hard. Maybe I'll just not do it. We talk ourselves out of stuff. And so what I call that mind chatter is I call it my itty bitty shitty committee. I've learned to say, okay, mind, I'm going to redirect you. So we start out the class giving you a focus. And we give the focus to create whatever intention we want to create. Or if we give our mind a focus, it gives us more power to create that intention that we want to do, whether it's working out a sore shoulder or whatever it is. And then, so our mind's busy doing positive, good stuff. And then when you bring the mind into it, your body knows what it's supposed to do. A lot of times, if you ever done a workout or something and you start getting a Charlie horse, and it really hurts. Have you ever had a Charlie horse? Like, they seriously hurt, right? What happens when you get a Charlie horse is because your muscles, one muscle wants to go one way and the other wants to go the other way, and they're having a tug of war, and that's not fun. So by having that conscious intention, telling my mind, okay, this is what I'm doing, then your mind is working with your body, and then your body knows what to do, and it beautifully, masterfully does it in whatever movement you're doing. And so you lost my train of thought. So let's just stand up really quick, since I guess it was time to stop there. We're going to do a joint stimulation movement really quick to just kind of let you feel. This is about a minute. So everybody just step in. We're going to lead with our heel. And then just wiggle your toes. And we're going to activate our ankle joint. So just bring your heels up and off the floor and just kind of give it a little step. Just opening, just think of your joints as being a mouth. Now bring it up into the knee. Good, Steve, awesome. Now open up to what we call an A stance, and we're just going to take our hip joint just to a max. We call this the NIA smile. Just opening up that hip. Now just roll the hips, nice and easy. Just soften the knee. The hip will follow. Now let's bring it up to our wrists, and just roll those wrists. And you can even turn them this way. Take them to that elbow. Moving that over in and out, circling that spiral energy. Now bring it to your shoulder. Ah, doesn't that feel good? Isolate. Oh, sorry. Now let's take it to our spine. Just soften your body. Push your buttocks out and just let your body. The tiniest movements sometimes can help us align. And just tuck your chin to your chest and then slowly raise up. Yummy, huh?
Except for the time when I waxed.
Yeah, how you doing, Steve? I know, I thought if I set the chairs out in a circle, we'd have room to move and stuff, but, so, our bodies are always talking to us. So I talked about how the body, you guys can sit down, we'll move again in just a minute. So our bodies are always talking to us, and we get sensation. That's how our body realm talks to us. It talks to us through sensation. So, you know, we know it as a young child. We all probably put our finger on the hot stove and, oh, wow, that burned. We immediately have sensation. And that is very powerful because that sensation helps us know how to move, you know. And if something hurts, stop. If something feels good, keep doing that, you know, because it feels good. And then our mental realm, we communicate with our mental realm through language. So when you're very, very young, you know, you're born. Have you ever wondered why you can't remember stuff before you're age 5 or whatever? It's because we didn't have any language. We didn't have any way to relate. We didn't have any way to attach a meaning or an association or an experience. So language, as we got older, we started learning words and talk, oh, okay, we know that. We know a word, run, okay, I know how to do that because I've seen people do that. So we have a way to relate things in our world. So we use mental imagery, we use visionary, like sometimes I can just say a word and people will experience it. They'll automatically go in their mind to that place. So I want you to stand up again for just a minute. We're going to experience some mental communication. And I'm going to show you how it comes together with our physical realm. So I want you to just kind of walk around, and we'll just kind of walk in a circle so we don't hit anybody's head bashed or whatever. So I want you to walk as if you're really sad. What did you notice your body do just then?
Slow.
Yeah. See, just that one word. All I said was sad. And I saw the room go. So now I want you to walk as if you are curious. Curious. Yeah. What did you just experience in your body? Just for that one word.
Stand up straight.
It was felt a lot different, right? Right? So I want you to walk now as if you are the bomb and you know it. Yeah, baby. Yeah. How does that feel? Oh, yeah.
Break it down, break it.
Yeah. Okay, go back to where you were sitting. So see how powerful that is with language. All I have to do sometimes I'll say, all right, let's paint a rainbow. And immediately I start seeing colors and all this stuff because that mental connection is really powerful. And so then we want to go and talk a little bit about our emotions. So our emotions are, how we communicate with our emotions is we'll sense a thought, right? And we start thinking about that, and then that thought will generate a feeling. And then that feeling will generate an action. And then thoughts, feelings, and then the feelings create the emotion. And then out of that emotion, we react or we take action, right? And so we can't ever really talk about something from our emotions if it is an incongruency with what's happening in our mind and our body. So Carrie, would you stand up for a second? I'm going to pick on you because this is Carrie Gillen, you guys. She's an awesome person. Be sure and come meet her today because she's amazing. She's one of my best, dearest friends. So Carrie, so we have 7,000 nerve endings in our feet, and our feet are very, very important. And we have these little neuronodal proprioceptors in our feet. And our feet ground us to energy, and our feet give us a lot of important information, but God didn't design us with the DNA to go up to somebody. Like, I'm not going up to Carrie and say, hey, Carrie, how you doing? It's so good to see you. How you doing? Which is great. So instead, he gave us the feet to ground us, and we always want to ground. And we always, I love watching the sumo guys. They go, hua! So they're really ground. This is the sumo stance. They ground, they anchor before they start doing anything else. So God gave us these beautiful, incredible hands. And so I can go up to Carrie and I can say, Carrie, how you doing? It's so nice to see you. Mm-hmm. And that's yummy, and it feels natural because he gave us hands so we express our emotions with our hands. We express our emotions. Sometimes we say things with our mouth that our body doesn't agree with. So if I came up to Carrie and I said, Carrie, I really love you. I really do. Oh. Did you see how she reacted to that? Did you believe my truth?
No.
My body was not saying what my mouth was saying. What if I say, oh, Carrie, I really love you. So do you see the congruency? My body is matching what my words to her are. And so oftentimes we don't say our truth. We get caught up and we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or whatever. We don't, sometimes we say yes when we mean no, or sometimes we say no when we really probably would have wanted to do it. You can go ahead and sit down, I think. I just wanted to, I knew that you wouldn't hate me if I did. And we really go by what the body does. If I'm in class and I'm teaching, and if I say, everybody do an upward block with your left arm, and I do this, was that congruent? Everybody do an upward block with your right arm. I'm sorry. With your left arm, now I say, see, my body is knowing what I'm doing. And I can tell you when I'm teaching a class, if I do that, if I say do it with your left arm, and if my body does it right, even though my mouth said do an upward block with your left arm, if I do it with my right arm, 99.99% of the time, people are going to do what my body does, not what my mouth says. So it's really important to notice how people are communicating with their body, because it's much more valuable information than what they're saying with their mouth. And so emotions are good because they help us, they bring us to activity, they bring us to action. They stir things, they help us grow. Our emotions are an important part of our being. And sometimes we get them out of hand. If you get an emotion, somebody says something to you, well, that offended me, I'm mad, gosh dang, I'm gonna punch her in the mouth, or whatever guys do, I don't know, whatever. Sorry. So sometimes it can kind of make you in trouble. So the point is to be mindful, be conscious, be aware of what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I noticing? What's my level of awareness? And so stand up, we're gonna move. We're going to do a song right now, and we're going to dance this. Here, hold on. So when you hear this music, I want you to notice what you're hearing. I want you to notice what you, sorry, I just want to find it here. I hate talking to you with my butt at your face. Okay. So you're going to hear some cool stuff. This is NIA music, and it was created by an Indian tribe, I think in South Dakota, one of the Sioux, I think. And you're going to hear eagles, you're going to hear the wolf, you're going to hear drums and flutes and tambourines, and you're going to hear water, you're going to hear chieftain, you're going to hear the voices of children. It's beautiful, and we're going to move. And I want you to notice what you're experiencing in your body. what thoughts come to your mind, what visual imagery that you experience from what you're hearing and what you're feeling as you move through the movements. So everybody take a little step forward, like maybe one person step forward and the other person stay back, so you're not like back and somebody, yeah, there you go. Okay, you guys ready?
It's on the way.
Yeah.
Do you want to go down?
Okay, so we're going to step in. See, already your body wants to move, right? So just kind of open up your stance. We're going to bring our hands together. Hands are very powerful. And I just want you to let your spirit sway. You can start bringing the foot into the movement, activating that knee joint just slightly, but just let your body feel it. Just sway. Yeah, right. Good. Now bring your arms out like you're going to hug yourself and dive in. Take it to your level. Coming up, we're going to cross our fingers because this stimulates that spiral energy, and bring your arms behind you. Listening. Now hug yourself. Grab those arms right into your chest. Take it down. Bring it up. Cross your fingers and take it down. Looking up. Now go back to that spirit sway and just let your body feel it. Notice what instruments you hear. Oh yeah, it feels so good. Oh yeah. Just be with it. You hear the rush of the wind? Now get ready. We're going to stabilize our energy. Palm up to the heavenly realm. Palm down. Stepping out. Stepping together. Stepping out. This grounds you to energy. This taps into that crown chakra. Now sway it. Beautiful. Hear that beautiful eagle. And then when you feel more comfortable, you might notice that your body wants more movement. Feel that downbeat. Hear the voices from your heart. Beautiful, everybody, beautiful. Bring it into the heart. 4 times. Look up. Bring it in. Take it down. From the heart. Feel the heart and the soul of the movement. Everybody sense your arms going through space. Sense the soles of your feet. Beautiful. Feel every cell and muscle. Now we're going to take it on the left side to balance our neurological energy. Starting on the left side first. Hey-oh, 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 ah-yeah. Hey-oh, ah-yeah. Hey-oh, ah-yeah. Hey-oh, 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 ah-yeah. Hey-oh, ah-yeah. Hey-oh, ah-yeah. Hey-oh, 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 ah-yeah. Now balance your energies. Take it out. Stance. Feel every breath. Now bring the hands together. into that crown chakra. Oof. And bring the hands slowly down, very Tai Chi like. Feel the energy work. Can you feel the energy around your arms?
Much more alive.
It is more alive, right? So we just moved a heck of a lot of chi, right? So So we moved a lot of energy. We moved a lot of chi. You guys can sit down for a minute. We'll do more movement, but get comfortable. So when we stimulate our chi energy, then it helps create balance. It helps our immune system. It keeps us healthy, and it helps create activity in our body. It does so much to nourish not only our physical realm, but our mind, our spirit, our emotions, and our electromagnetic energy field, which we call our aura, which we were tapping into. And so I want to speak a little bit about spirit. So it's so crazy. My journey with NIA was so profound because I already told you about how I fell into it. Well, so I've been bebopping along for like a year. I was teaching my classes with my white belt, and it came time for my blue belt. And Carlos Rosas, who was one of the creators, he and Debbie created this beautiful gift. Carlos said one time, I didn't create NIA, I was the conduit. And I was asked because I was willing. NIA has a spirit all of its own. And I know that to be true because I cannot tell you all the times where I have been preparing all day. I do a lot of preparation to do this because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of balls you have to juggle to teach this because it's so integrated. And I'll be working all day on something and think, oh man, I gotta kick my class, it's gonna be so rocking. And then about an hour before class, I'll hear, don't teach that. What? And I just have this argument with myself. And I'm like, but I'm so prepared and I don't know if I can get it together to do this. And I'll hear a shoulder or something. And then I'll get to class and I just ask for the spirit to be with me. And I teach the different thing than what I'd been preparing all afternoon. And invariably somebody will come up to me, my shoulder's been killing me all week and I'm so glad that you did this thing, you took us, and my shoulder feels better. It's so amazing. And so NIA is teaching me all the time to listen to spirit. And I'm so, pay attention, I'm so guided in this work because I want people to heal. I want people to feel what I'm feeling. I want them to have this amazing gift that gives me life, that gives me passion, that gives me purpose. And you have to try it. I can sit here and tell you how amazing. You obviously know I'm passionate about it, but I want you to have what I'm having. And when I was going to my blue belt, about 3 weeks before my blue belt, and I signed up way ahead of time because Carlos was going to be retiring that year. It was the only blue belt that he was doing that year. I'm like, I really want to go to Source. I thought I had excellent training because I've had my training from Source. And 3 weeks before the training, and they give you a discount or a refund up until 30 days before the training, then you lose it. My mom died. And I was like, oh. I had a really not a good relationship with my mom. There was a lot of challenges there. And I was really devastated because I kept thinking, well, at some point we'll be able to talk and work through these, these really painful things. And my mom died. And I was just devastated. And I was like, how did you leave before we got this figured out? I was mad at her and I was hurting and I didn't know what to do with all this grief and all these crazy things that were going through my head. And I had this NIA training coming up. How can I do this? I'm a mess. And then I just went into spirit and I heard, go to the class. And I thought, is that religious to go to this training when my mom just died and we're trying to marry her and take care of all of her stuff? And it was a crazy time. So I went to the NIA training because I listened to spirit. And in that NIA training, just having an opportunity to work through all those emotions with the movement, the purposefulness, the intent, the magic. I mean, how did you feel when we did that, the music, when we just did the dance? If something didn't touch you on some level, I think you better check out. You might be half dead. So when I went to the training, it was such an amazing thing, because doing the movement and learning and just completely immersing, it helped me really understand grief. It helped me figure out, how do I walk through this? And what I learned is the only way that you get through grief is you go through it. You be with it. You hold it. You embrace it. You deal with it. And you love. You give love, and you help each other, and you do what you're directed, and you use forgiveness, and you do, come on in, there's a place over there, there's a place there. So it was really, really powerful to have that experience, to just, Nia has just been such a gift. When I think of every time I've had a really hard trial in my life, Nia was there. Nia supported me, sustained me, nurtured me, healed me, and it's amazing. And so the spirit piece of it is so important, because if you don't have a connection with your spirit, I don't know how you manage life. Like, seriously, how do you do it? Because we were created in spirit form before we ever manifested in physical form. So I want to show you what it is like to move. So, okay, we have a body of form, right? We have flesh and bones and blood and joints and ligaments and tendons and cells and tissue and all that stuff. That's our form. Form also in Nia is considered to be like the steps that we do. Like, this is a heel lead. We do choreography. We do katas, which is a martial art term for a combination of movements to work on a certain, like in yoga, in Tai Chi, this is the horse maning the tail. So there's these, and then you do there's a bunch of things, but they're movements that they put together for learning the practice and katas. And then the body is the form. And then we have this spirit being, and I'll just use this glove for an example. So pretend like this glove is my body. This is a very silly analogy, but it really is powerful when you think about it. So this glove is cool, but it just kind of hangs out. It doesn't really do anything. But if I put my spirit inside this glove, wow, look at the movement I can do. I can do creepy crawlers and pump and this. I can do all kinds of things. So this is an alignment. That's what we are. This body is the container for our spirit. And our spirits, we forget sometimes. We listen to the crowd that says, oh, we're not very good. We're not as pretty as she is. We don't have as much money. We don't have as big a house. We don't drive as fancy a car. A lot of society gets really caught up in that mind trap. But we're amazing. We are these incredible, huge spirit beings. And we are perfect.
Yes.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that you're any less than perfect. You're just on a process on your lateral, but you're perfect. And I've read a lot of encounters of near-death experiences, and they said one of the most painful things about coming back is trying to get this great big huge spirit in this little tiny body. It's painful to try and put all that amazingness in one little container. So Carlos explained it like we have our form, we have our steps and our stances, and then when we tap into spirit and we let the spirit body move that form body, that's when you tap into joy. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to do just a really quick demonstration so you just can kind of see the difference. I'm gonna perform it, and then we'll do something together. Let's see, I gotta find the song I want. Hold on. So I'm gonna start out this routine, and I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna do the first part of it, just moving my form. And then I'm going to do the second part. I'm going to do it twice so you see it. And then the second part, I'm going to be having my body, I'm going to surrender to spirit and let my spirit do what it wants to do, and see if you can see the difference. If you can't, we're going to have a long talk afterwards.
There will be a quiz.
There will be a quiz. If you don't love this, I don't know what your problem is. Okay, so here's form, right? My body's doing it. Now I'm going to let my spirit guide the show. Okay. Just kidding. So raise your hand if you did not see the difference. So, do you think I looked happier doing the form, or happier when I just surrendered and let my spirit have it experience?
Joy.
Total joy. So joy, let's talk a little bit about joy. Joy is, people think about joy as happy, they think it's synonymous, but it really isn't. Happy is in a moment, it's situational, it's fleeting. And sometimes people think, oh, when I hold my newborn baby, that's joyful, that's enjoyment. Joy is a universal force field. It is a spirit energy all of its own. It's like air. It's available. We don't have to think about the breaths we take. Our body just does it. Air is always available to us. And it's so natural and it's so important. That's what joy is. Joy is everywhere. It's all around us, just like spirit. Spirit is everywhere. It's there's no words. I just can't explain it better. But joy is that energy, that existence, that when you tap into it, it is so magical, and it will sustain you through anything. And I can tell you that when I was grieving my mother and I was in a class, it was so, I really learned grace, because I was able to tap into that joy, and it really helped me understand that, why are we grieving? In the Bible, God says, man are that they might have joy. That was God's number one goal in our creation, that we would have joy. How do we have joy? We reach up and we grab it. we just tap in, and it's always available to us, and we don't have to go, oh my gosh. Getting back to the body, if I walk in, I go, man, I have a really amazing, satisfying, full life. Or when I walk and say, oh my gosh, I have such a great life. I'm dancing NIA. Like, what do you think is true for me? If you don't know the answer, we're talking later. So I would just invite you to play with that essence of joy. Tap into it. It's there for the taking. And joy will sustain you, whether you're having fun with your kids, or you're on an amusement ride, or you're scrubbing the toilet, or you're grieving, and things are hard, and you just lost your job, and your marriage, and everything that your belief system, whatever your anchors were, wherever your tribe was. When you lose that stuff, it's pretty heavy-duty stuff. So how do you work through it? Reach up and take it. It's there. And so I want to talk a little bit, and then we'll do another dance really quick, but when I was teaching the Yupik, I was up in Akiachuk, it's a little Yupik Eskimo village, and I was blessed to teach the kids NIA. And I was going into the high school kids, and the sports director that was setting everything up, he's like, you know, I really don't want to get your feelings hurt. You came all the way here in the middle of nowhere, and these kids are not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. They don't do anything. Unless it's out basketball and they bounce it, they're not going to do it. And I'm like, well, let's just try. Let's just see what happens. And I knew if I could get that one penguin, I'd be in. Well, you know, penguin, if one jumps in, then they all go, but nobody goes, so that person goes. So I'm standing there, and I put on the music, you know, and I'm like, and they're all like, who is this chick, and why is she here, and what are we supposed to do? You know, kids, how they are, teenagers. And so I start doing my thing, you know, and I'm just like tapping into my joy, I'm having a good time. And I could tell this one kid, he was like his body was like so wanting to be out there. I'm like, come on. And he's like, okay. And as soon as he jumped out, then I had like 20 kids. And it was so magical. And the sports director was like, I can't believe it. I never thought I'd get those kids out there. By the time we were done with the hour, the kids were like, we don't want to go back to class. Can we stay here? We want to do more. And then I was teaching the little children, and they are so tuned in. Like, that's all I can say. They're just tuned in. And I had this one little kid, his name was Moses. And I was doing some hardcore stuff, like, you know, we were kicking and blocking and all this stuff. And this little kid, those people don't have any spatial awareness. Like, when they talk to you, they're like this. Because they pile up to stay warm or something. They have no spatial awareness. So I'm sitting there, I tell the children, right? I'm like, all right, everybody spread out, because I want you to all kick, and then make sure you have enough room to kick without kicking someone, like, you know, we had happen over there. So this little kid, Moses, he was so stinking cute. He looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like, he was just so cute. You just wanted to kiss him all over the place. So I'm doing these kicks, and I go, wow. I turn around, and Moses is flying. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Moses, oh my gosh. And I said, see, kid, that's why I don't want you to get too close, because it could be dangerous. And I'm like, they're never going to ask me back again. I'm going to be child abused or whatever. So I tell all the kids, see how important it is to be aware of your space. And we start up the music, and I'll be dang, I turn around and he's right there again. And so we dance, and the kids were laughing and playful. And at the end of the dance, we always close the dance, and I really haven't gotten into the stuff about the class, but we start out saying the focus, directing the mind. We do warm-up movements like we did, getting our wrists ready to move. Then we do the movements, and then we start with a cool down, and then we end on the floor. I was down on the floor part with the kids, and we were just doing some little light exercises, and all of a sudden, one by one, all these beautiful little children came and piled up on my lap, like just doggy pile, puppy pile. And the love that they had was so amazing. It was like you could touch it. It was tangible. And I was so touched by the spirit. I'm like, you know, I don't know their language. I don't know the people. First time in the village. It was one of the most beautiful, sweetest spiritual experiences I've ever had. It's just spirit-to-spirit communication. And I wept. I was so deeply touched by the love of those people and just the gratitude of having something new in their life, because their life's pretty stark. I mean, for crying out loud, they have nothing. And it was beautiful. And then I want to tell you one other thing. So did not follow my notes, but
So did not need to.
Yeah, we don't care.
So this Christmas, my daughter just moved. She's a bush teacher, so I've had wonderful opportunities. I've experienced the river people, the ocean people, the mountain people of the native tribes, and I was in Anatuvik Pass, and it's a beautiful place. It's right in the heart of the Brooks Range, just in this incredible little village. I was there at Christmas time, and we were invited to a feast. So I had Christmas dinner with 200 Eskimos. It was kind of cool. And then afterward, the chief came up, and he's like, well, we want to invite you. We have a dance. We want you to come. And they don't often invite white people to their special things. So I was like, wow, this is a super honor. And so they were doing the dance. The only music that they have is their voice and their drums. They take caribou hides and they dry them and they wrap them around wood, and that's their drums. But the beat is so intense and so profound, and I was just so caught in of how organic and systemic and how beautiful their movements were. And I asked one of them, I said, "Can I do that?" And I thought, maybe I'm really stepping out of boundaries here. But I was just so wanting to share that with them. And one of the ladies said, "Oh, yeah, I can tell that you want to." Because I was like, "Can I do it? Can I do it?" So I said, "Well, how do you do it?" And she goes, "You feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it." And the women dance very much like we were doing. They do a lot of knee. It's very, earthy. It's very elegant. It's very graceful. And the man is like, so here I am in my spirit, and I surrendered, and I let my spirit go. And I was like, and my daughter goes, "Mom, you dance like a man." And what I noticed is after I went out and got, then I noticed the women got more in their spirit animal. And it was really fascinating to watch. And I felt so honored to have that experience to teach with them. And I had another experience probably 3 or 4 years ago. I was teaching for Hope. And I was teaching people with special needs, like seriously special needs. They said, "Well, we're always looking for new movement stuff, and this stuff sounds really good because it helps the mind and the body integration." I had people walk in the class the first day. They were in wheelchairs and walkers, severely mentally slow. And I was like, "Holy smokes, what? I always get myself into these situations. How do I do this?" And at first it was very challenging. Most of those people couldn't stand and do the movements without somebody holding them and helping them, because they didn't even have enough balance to stand on their own. So we started doing the movements, and I had to just really break them down. And that's what we learned from Tai Chi. Speed is not mastery. Mastery is in the detail. When you're moving those intrinsic muscles that lay right along the bone, and you get the detailed movement, and then the extrinsic muscles are the ones that power it, right? So we just broke everything down, and it was so amazing. I had one kid that was autistic, and he had never in his life made eye contact with anyone, not his parents, not his caregivers, not the staff, the support people, nobody, never in his life. And he was, I think, 21. We did a 5-week class. By the end of the 5 weeks, I looked at him, I'm like, "Stephen, you're doing great." And he looked me in the eye, and he lit up like somebody just lit a Christmas tree. There is so much power in movement, in moving in joy, moving in intention, and just surrendering. So let go of all those belief systems that are BS, and just be. Success isn't in doing anything, it's just being, doing. Show up, have fun. We were created so we would have joy. So stand up, everybody. We're going to do a really quick song, and then we're going to close, and then we're going to do an ending song. Okay, for this movement, we can probably go ahead and stand in a circle, because we're going to be moving in a circular direction. We're either going to be in a circular direction, or you can step out when you feel the need. And I want everybody to just let everything go. Be here, be now, be present, and just have this experience. Okay, you ready?
C.
So let's kind of get your feet. Feel it in your body. Yeah. All right, you got it, girl. Now we're going to travel this way. But first, just kind of get your feet. Lift your knee. Just kind of tap your fingers. Take it to the other side. We want to make you balance. Other side, just kind of tap it out. If you got shoulders, it's okay to move them. Hips like to move. All right, you guys ready? We're going to walk that way, like this. Ready? Let's go. Woo! Walk it in a circle. Now let's reverse it, because the brain really likes change. Reverse the other way. The other way. Shake, 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 shake. Now just dance it free. Just dance whatever comes. Just have fun. Just move. It's all about really tapping into that joy. Nothing matters. Dance as if you're 7 years old and nobody's watching you.
We all close our eyes.
That's right. Now let's go back in the circle. Take it around. Other way. Woo! Yeah. Get everything going. Now shape it. Shape, 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 shape. Now bring it up from the earth and send it off. Let's go. This way. Woohoo! Woo! Now other side. Woohoo! Look at those hands. Look at that head. What part of you is not moving?
My tongue.
Bring it down. Shape it. Wow, stop. Add one body part at a time. And just let it just flow. Maybe do a fun little step. Maybe do a funky step. Maybe dance on one foot. There's no limits, you guys. And nobody cares. It's your play. Why do kids get to have all the fun? So, let's go. In the circle. Now, other side. How do you really know? You know, it's okay. Woo, yeah. Now shape it. Shape, 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 shape. Bring it up from the earth. Send it to heaven. In the circle. Shape it, shape it, shape it, shape it. Bring it from the earth. Send it out. Travel it. Yeah. Shake, 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 shake. Woo! Now just dance it any way you want. You can step out. You can dance it in place. Maybe you got some shoulders that want some attention. Yeah, yeah. Maybe you want to have a partner. Woo! Yeah, yeah. Woo! Yeah! There you go, girl. See how fun it is? Come alive. Feel that aliveness. Surrender. Dance it out in the circle. Direct the energy. Shake, 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 shake. Woo! Send it off. Other way. Nice. Nice. See how fun it is? Woo! Bring it down. Send it off.
How many calories do you think?
A lot.
Good.
But I'm not even worried about the calories.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. Woo!
I really appreciate your effort.
Right! Oh, you see what you're missing? Take it to the ethereal realm. Palms touch. Bring it to heart center. And say thank you. Thank you, body, for giving me this beautiful dance.